The hidden power of Pisces begins in a place most people rarely explore. Pisces is often described in simple ways. People say Pisces is emotional, imaginative, or dreamy. Sometimes they say Pisces is sensitive, spiritual, or artistic. And while these descriptions are not entirely wrong, they only touch the surface of something far deeper. The true power of the Pisces archetype is far more mysterious than most modern interpretations reveal. To understand Pisces properly, we must first recognize where it stands within the greater symbolic cycle of the zodiac. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiacal wheel. It is the 12th archetype, the last chapter in a sequence of transformation that begins with Aries and culminates in dissolution. This position is not accidental. In esoteric traditions, the 12th position represents completion, transcendence, and the return to the source. Pisces therefore represents the point where individuality dissolves and consciousness reconnects with something much larger than the self. In other words, Pisces represents the archetype of spiritual memory, while other signs focus on identity, ambition, structure, or discovery. Pisces carries the imprint of every experience that came before it. It is the archetype that contains the entire story. This is why Pisces is often associated with deep empathy. People born under strong Piscean influence frequently sense emotional states that others cannot perceive easily. But this empathy is not merely emotional sensitivity. It emerges from a deeper symbolic principle. Pisces represents the porous boundary between individual consciousness and collective consciousness. In esoteric philosophy, this boundary is often described as the veil. Most people move through life assuming their thoughts and emotions are entirely separate from the world around them. Yet the Pisces archetype suggests something different. It suggests that consciousness itself is interconnected. The Piscean mind therefore operates like a receiver. It absorbs subtle emotional and energetic signals from its environment. This ability can feel overwhelming when it is not understood, but when cultivated consciously, it becomes one of the most powerful forms of perception. The symbol of Pisces reflects this dual nature. Two fish swim in opposite directions, yet they remain connected by an invisible thread. This image reveals an important truth about the Piscean archetype. Pisces lives between two worlds. One fish swims toward the material world of experience. The other swims toward the ocean of spirit. The Piscean individual, therefore, often feels pulled between reality and transcendence, between ordinary life and deeper meaning. This tension is not a weakness. It is the source of Pisces' hidden power. Because the ability to move between worlds allows Pisces to translate spiritual insight into human understanding. In ancient mystical traditions, this role was extremely important. Priests, mystics, and seers were often trained to develop the same kind of perception represented by Pisces. They learned to quiet the surface of the mind so that deeper awareness could emerge. This deeper awareness often appears through symbols, dreams, intuition, and imagination. Modern culture sometimes dismisses these experiences as fantasy. Yet throughout history, they have served as gateways to insight. Pisces therefore represents the archetype of the dreamer, who understands that dreams are not meaningless. Dreams are messages from the deeper layers of consciousness. When the rational mind relaxes during sleep, symbolic imagery emerges from the unconscious. The Piscean archetype has a natural relationship with this imagery. It interprets symbols instinctively. This is why Pisces energy is frequently connected with art, music, storytelling, and poetry. These creative forms are not merely entertainment. They are languages of the unconscious. They translate emotion and intuition into images that others can feel and understand. The artist working through Piscean energy becomes a translator between worlds. But creativity is only one expression of Pisces' deeper nature. Another hidden aspect of the Pisces archetype involves compassion. Compassion is often misunderstood as simple kindness. In reality, compassion is a form of expanded perception. It is the ability to recognize oneself within the experiences of others. Pisces naturally perceives this shared humanity because it senses the subtle connections between people. This awareness allows Pisces to see beyond surface identities. Beyond roles, status, and appearance, it sees the emotional and spiritual currents moving beneath human interaction. This perception can feel almost psychic, not in the sense of predicting the future with certainty, but in the sense of sensing emotional truths before they are spoken. Many Piscean individuals develop strong intuitive insight into human behavior. They can sense when someone is hiding pain. They can feel shifts in emotional atmosphere within a room. They often recognize unspoken motivations behind actions. This ability comes from the archetype's connection to the collective emotional field. Yet this gift also requires balance, because when boundaries become too thin, the Piscean individual may absorb emotions that do not belong to them. In esoteric teachings, this challenge is described as the test of the mystic. The mystic must learn how to navigate the ocean of consciousness without losing themselves within it. This is why water symbolism is central to Pisces. Water represents the unconscious mind. Its depths contain memories, impressions, and emotions accumulated throughout life. Most people remain near the surface of this ocean. They interact with the visible aspects of experience. Pisces, however, is drawn toward deeper waters. It seeks the currents beneath the waves. And in those currents, it discovers patterns that others overlook. This depth of perception is why Pisces is often associated with spiritual awakening. Awakening does not necessarily mean adopting a specific belief system. It means recognizing that reality contains layers beyond what the senses immediately reveal. The Piscean archetype has a natural sensitivity to these layers. It recognizes that the physical world is only one dimension of experience. Beneath it lies the realm of symbolism, emotion, intuition, and consciousness. In ancient mystery traditions, initiates were taught to navigate these layers carefully. They practiced meditation, contemplation, and symbolic study to expand awareness. These practices mirror the natural tendencies of the Pisces archetype. The Piscean individual often feels drawn towards spirituality not because of doctrine, but because of curiosity. They sense that something meaningful exists beneath the surface of ordinary life. This curiosity leads them toward exploration, sometimes through philosophy, sometimes through psychology, sometimes through mystical traditions, and sometimes through art. Each path leads toward the same question. What lies beyond the visible world? Pisces seeks answers to that question not through rigid logic alone, but through intuitive understanding. It listens to the subtle signals of the psyche. It pays attention to dreams, synchronicities, and symbolic experiences. These signals often appear insignificant to others, but to Pisces they form a language that reveals hidden connections between events. This symbolic awareness is one of Pisces' greatest gifts, because symbols allow complex truths to be understood through imagery rather than explanation. The unconscious mind responds strongly to symbols. They bypass intellectual resistance and speak directly to deeper awareness. This is why ancient cultures encoded wisdom within myths and stories. Myths function as symbolic maps of the human psyche. Pisces resonates deeply with these maps because it recognizes the archetypal patterns within them. For example, many myths describe a hero descending into darkness before returning with wisdom. This descent mirrors the psychological journey into the unconscious. Pisces understands that transformation often requires entering the unknown. Yet Pisces also understands that the unknown is not something to fear. It is a place of discovery. The ocean appears mysterious because its depths are hidden. But those depths also contain life, movement, and possibility. The same is true of the unconscious mind. Within its depths lie creativity, insight, and spiritual awareness. Pisces therefore acts as the diver of the zodiac. It descends into the ocean of consciousness and returns with inspiration. Sometimes this inspiration appears as art, sometimes as compassion, sometimes as spiritual wisdom, and sometimes as quiet understanding. Because the greatest strength of the Pisces archetype is subtle influence, Pisces rarely dominates through force. Instead, it shifts emotional currents quietly. A single piece of music can move thousands of people. A story can inspire empathy across cultures. A moment of compassion can transform someone's perspective. These are forms of influence that operate beneath the surface. They ripple through the collective psyche in ways that are difficult to measure but impossible to ignore. The Piscean archetype understands that not all power is visible. Some power moves like water, quietly shaping landscapes over time. This quiet power is perhaps the deepest secret of Pisces, because the world often celebrates loud achievements, status, competition, and visible success. Yet the Pisces archetype reveals another form of mastery. The mastery of inner awareness, the mastery of empathy, the mastery of symbolic understanding, and the mastery of imagination. Imagination is particularly important in the Piscean world because imagination allows the mind to explore possibilities beyond current reality. Many innovations begin as imaginative visions. Scientists imagine new theories. Artists imagine new worlds. Philosophers imagine new ways of understanding consciousness. Pisces nurtures this imaginative capacity, not as escapism, but as exploration. It recognizes that imagination can reveal truths that logic alone cannot reach. When imagination and intuition work together, creativity emerges. And creativity has the power to transform culture. Through music, film, literature, and visual art, Piscean energy shapes collective dreams. It gives form to emotions that many people struggle to express. In this way, Pisces becomes the storyteller of the collective unconscious. It gives voice to the hidden feelings and longings shared by humanity. Yet perhaps the deepest esoteric secret of Pisces lies in its connection to unity. Throughout history, mystics across cultures have described a similar experience, an experience in which the boundary between self and universe dissolves. In that moment, consciousness feels interconnected with all life. This experience is often described as mystical union. The Pisces archetype symbolizes this union. It represents the realization that separation is not absolute, that beneath individual identity lies a shared field of consciousness. This insight can be difficult to articulate in ordinary language, yet many spiritual traditions attempt to describe it. They speak of compassion arising naturally when one recognizes the interconnectedness of existence. Pisces carries this awareness instinctively. It senses that every action influences the whole, that every emotion ripples through the collective field. This understanding inspires the highest expression of the Pisces archetype: service. Not service motivated by obligation, but service motivated by empathy. Because when one recognizes the shared nature of consciousness, helping others becomes an expression of helping oneself. This realization transforms compassion into purpose, and through this purpose, the hidden power of Pisces becomes visible, not as domination or control, but as healing of emotional wounds, healing of division, healing of disconnection. The Pisces archetype reminds us that the deepest strength is often invisible. It flows quietly beneath the surface, guiding intuition, inspiring creativity, awakening compassion, and revealing that the ocean of consciousness we all share is far deeper than we once imagined.